All right. So in this specific one, we are going to cover EBS volume types in details. We have traversed a long journey so far, and we were not aware of what actually volume type is. So here is the video, which will clear what actually the volume type is. And whenever we were launching the EC2 instances for taking the EBS volume, right? When we were encrypting the disk, we were selecting the volume type as gp3, right? So here we'll get the clarification what actually gp3 is, what actually gp2 is, and what are the different sort of volumes that we have, right? So let's get started. So in AWS, we have six types of EBS volume. So basically, you can categorize into SSD and HDD. In SSD, you will find GP2 and GP3. So basically, GP3 is the latest one, GP2 is the earlier one, and second categorization will fall under io1 and io2. Okay, and if you go into another categorization, that is of HDD, you will see two subcategorization, that is st1 and sc1. Okay, so as you are already aware of, HDD are faster in data processing rate, however HDD are lower in rate. That's why only gp2, gp3 and io1, io2, which are subcategorizations of SSD volume type, can only be attached as a block express as a boot volume in the instances. Okay, all right. So let us start with actually GP2 and GP3 SSD. Okay, so basically the general data transfer speed over here is 6,000 input output per second, and it will range till 1 MB per second. Okay, general purpose SSD volume are those volume that balances the price and performance for wide variety of workloads. Okay, now let us understand IO1 and IO2, which are also known as block express solid state drives. It provides high performance, and it is basically used for mission critical application which requires low latency and need high throughput workloads. Okay, let's move forward with another categorization, that is st1, which is for HDD. So basically this volume type will be slightly slower in terms of execution and processing, because and that's why there is a difference in the pricing. So this cost to you low. So this HDD volume type is designed for frequently accessed and throughput intensive workloads. And when you come to sc1, it will again cost you a low cost as compared to the HDD volume type, and it is designed for less frequently accessed workloads. Okay, now as I mentioned earlier, only SSD volume types, that is GP2, GP3 and io1, io2, can be used as a boot volumes in the instances. Okay, let us move with the first categorization, that is gp2 and gp3. Now when I say gp2, the full form, and it's an abbreviation for general purpose ssds. Okay, so here the data speed will again traverse from 64,000 input output per second till 1000 MB per second, as I mentioned earlier. So basically, what are the few points that we can cover over here? It is basically cost effective, low latency. GP3 is the latest generation which offer a lower cost and better performance than GP2, as I mentioned earlier. General purpose workloads like boot volume, medium sized database, and development environment. So this is the basic use case why we can use general purpose SSD, GP2 and GP3. Now let us go for provision IOPS, that is PIOPS, provision input output per second SSD, that is for the classified into IO2 and IO1. So io2 provides higher durability and performance as compared to io1, right? So just like we have gp2 and gp3, we have io1 and io2. Okay, io2 is latest here, and here gp3 is latest. Okay, so yeah, it is used for critical business application which use high out input output operations, and it supports multi EBS attach. Okay, let's look the last volume type, that is hard disk drive, which is further classified into st1 and sc1. Okay, it cannot be used as a boot volume. Why? Because the input output here and the data transfer speed is very less, that is 500 megabytes. Please note it's megabyte. I'll just zoom it up. So it's megabytes, right? So it's megabytes, and second is the input output per second you will be getting is just 500. So that's the reason you cannot use it as a boot volume. Second, it can be used for large sequential storage, like big data, log processing, and data warehouse. It is optimized for high throughput rather than input output, and infrequent data, backup and archival can be one of its use cases, and hence, since it is lower cost option, that's why we are getting lower throughput over here. All right. So that was all in this video where we saw about two classification of volume types, that is SSD and HDD, where SSD is broken down into gp2 and gp3, in which gp3 is the latest, and in SSD, that is io2 and io3. io2 is the latest one as compared to io1. And if we see why there is a costing difference, so basically it's the data traverse rate in between the volume types. So here we have an upper end on HDD if we see about the performance. However, if we see about in terms of cost storage, cost saving, HDD definitely has a good end, but it definitely comes for different use cases. All right. So yeah, that was all about EBS volume types. Now in the upcoming video, we are going to learn about EBS encryption. All right. So see you in that specific video. Thank you.